All right. All right. Welcome back in. Today, we are playing a new old game. This is a new edition, brand new edition of a classic game. I almost called this game a classic on my startup screen, but instead decided to go with the small and quick because it is a newer version of this game. But San Juan itself has been around since the old, ugly beige game days of board gaming. And here's what I mean by that. I meant to have this prepped earlier, but this is what San Juan used to look like back in the day. So that's San Juan. This is actually the, if you can believe it, the second edition version. This was a re-release. This is in the mid-teens, I think, 2014. And today, the game comes in a much smaller but somewhat thicker box called San Juan 1897. And this is the special edition from Awakened Realms and Aliyah and Ravensburger. Interestingly, though, what I find still very annoying is that even though we've got, 3 or 4 different versions of San Juan now, none of them have incorporated a solo mode. Not one. It's very frustrating because a solo mode, and actually several really very good solo modes, have existed for San Juan since almost the game's release. Community players have invented these, and they're all very good. I'm using The Hand today. The Hand was developed by, I think I have it on the screen, metonymous on BGG. And so far, I think it's really going to do quite well as a second player analog. This will be played as a 2-player game today. And all it really does, it doesn't get in your way. It doesn't give you a deck of cards to make a decision. You're rolling a die to make the decision as to what it's using, which I would normally think would be too much randomization, but not in a game where there's really only ever 5 choices. And in this case, one of those 5 is going to be used, roughly 10% more often, because if we look at these choices, these are the basic actions we will take in the game as we're playing. If you're not familiar with San Juan, you soon will be. But the way this works is we're going to take turns. The AI and me, my opponent and me, the hand, will take turns choosing which of these 5 actions to take throughout the game. And if I'm the one to initiate the action, if I'm the one to choose the action to take, then I get a slight advantage. I get to do something a little extra. But if the hand is the one to choose the choice of what to do, then I don't get that extra benefit. I might still be able to do the basic action. In fact, I will be able to do the basic action always, but I won't get the advantage unless I'm the one to initiate the action. So these are the 5. These are trader, builder, recruiter, craftsman, and adventurer. So if you're familiar at all with San Juan, you might look at those names and go, that's not what they used to be called. That's true. I think this was a thematic choice because functionally the cards are exactly the same. I'm going to look at one thing real quick. I just want to make sure that you guys can see all that good. Yeah, you can. Okay, cool. All right, thank you. Just wanted to double check. So I think all they did was really rename them. This was like Prospector before. It's now Adventurer. Little things. I think the cards are much clearer than they used to be. They're easier to read, and there's some symbology on them that's very clear. So as we go, I think it'll start to make sense. But here's how things get interesting with the solo. In The Hand, the designer of this solo mode designed it to be a campaign game. You can play this game over 5 campaigns. Campaigns are really just a set of victory point and victory conditions generally. In campaign 1, we are, which is what I'm playing today, campaign 1, there are 4 different routes to victory. We can either be a town developer, in which case we're really just looking for 35 or more victory points. Very generic, but as a nice way to learn the game, this might be one we go for. A production victory is 30 victory points, and we have to have 9+ production buildings. I'll talk about what that looks like in a minute. If we have one or the other, but not both, then we would lose the infrastructure, or sorry, the production victory. Infrastructure similarly, but in this case, it is, I think, crafting buildings. I believe that's the terminology they're using for CB. And that's like goods production building. No, that's not goods production. What are those? What's the name? I meant to look at the acronyms earlier. Sorry, I'll look it up as I'm going. But there are different kinds of buildings. I know what I'll do. I will just look it up in here. So these are, commercial buildings. So production buildings is PB, and CB are commercial buildings. They are different kinds of cards in the deck. And then the last one is diversified assets. So in other words, a blending of the two. But you need to have 12, at least 12 buildings, and six or more have to be production, and 6 or more have to be commercial. So this is a way to just kind of describe. This is a way to just kind of describe some like 4 very starter, very generic victory conditions for the game. In campaign 2, it starts to formalize, like specialize you into. It starts to specialize you into different ways of leveraging the cards. Like it's not just enough for you to build a certain type of building, but now it's like, hey, only when using buildings that cost between $1 and $3 a piece. So you have to use the cheapest buildings out there, but you still have to achieve this goal at the end. So it gets harder, it gets more specialized, and it forces you to think about how to play San Juan differently. So if you're that kind of player that wants variation and doesn't want to just find the path that's most comfortable for you, but also just really learn the ins and outs of a game, San Juan and this solo mode, the hand, might be perfect for you, because I feel like it's going to give you a way to just play through this game and try to achieve a victory in each of those campaigns, which will force you to get really good at playing San Juan. So in a nutshell, that's what we're going to be setting out to do today. I'm, again, only playing campaign 1 just as a taste. I just want to see how this feels. I've never played this solo mode before. I have played San Juan before, but it has been many years, and I was playing a different solo mode at the time. This one has since come out. I think the last time I played San Juan was somewhere like in the 2018, 2019 range. And this came out in 2022, and it is built for the second edition, which I showed on the screen earlier, but it seems to translate perfectly well into 1897 Special Edition, because I don't think fundamentally there's really anything different. The buildings that are in the second edition are in this, and there's some variation in quantity of cards and stuff like that between the versions, but functionally, in order to play the game, I think you can have either the second edition or 1897 and it'll play just fine. I guess we'll find out together. But that's that. So I talked about taking actions. I talked about how there's advantages to initiating the action versus following the action. How does a round work? A round works by 3 different actions being taken. So this is also part of the solo mode here. In fact, everything you see basically, except for the cards, is part of the solo mode. So this mat here where these cards are sitting, that's part of the solo mode. This campaign list, obviously, solo mode. And then also this round tracker, solo, part of the solo mode. So all these assets were built by the community, by this designer. Very cool. Anyway, the way round 1 works, in a normal 2-player game of San Juan, when you're playing this multiplayer, there are 3 actions to take per round. And this is exactly the same. There are 3 actions to take per round. In the normal game, you're going to be going 12 rounds, until 12 buildings are built. That's when the game is triggered in a multiplayer game. In the solo game, we're going to play for a flat 16 rounds, no matter how many buildings we build. So there's a slight difference. Honestly, I think you're going to end up in a similar place. You probably build maybe 1 or 2 more buildings, but the goal would be to get to 16 rounds. And a round is played with 3 actions per round. So what you'll see is, in every box on this tracker that has a die symbol, that's the hand that gets to select the action. So every other round, I'm going to have 2 selections to its 1, right? And it's going to alternate throughout the game. So it's going to get the same number of initiations as I will, and it's just going to bounce back and forth, back and forth. So this helps not only track whose turn it is to initiate an action, but it tracks how many actions have taken per round and which round it is. So I think that's a very cool addition to things. So the only thing I supplied other than the printing of these assets are that little tracker cube and this blue die, which we're going to roll to figure out what action he takes. That's it. Other than that, I think we shuffle up and get going. I think the only other thing to mention really is, and I'll talk about how the cards work as we game them and look at them and as we play, is that the hand limit, the base hand limit is 7 cards. And at any point during my round, I can exceed my hand limit, but it's only at the beginning of my next turn that I have to discard down if I'm over. So I can't persist more than 7 cards from turn to turn, but I can have more as I am playing my turn, if that makes sense. I think that's the only other thing to talk about. You may have seen this really cool shuffler on stream before. My good friend and moderator NetGod created this for me and printed this for me, and we motorized it when he was visiting last. And so I'm just going to take a second because, again, as is my custom, I tend not to play games that I've seen before or had much exposure to before. So I just broke the shrink on this earlier this morning. So I'm going to give these a quick shuffle using this shuffler because it's a better shuffler than my human shuffling, and it's much faster, assuming I can find the switch. There it is. And there's a lot of cards, and so it's much easier to deal with a shuffler in this situation, just because it won't wreck the cards, it won't bend the cards. So I'm just gonna run these through a couple times just to get things mixed up, so we're not going to be dealing with the same 6 cards for the whole game. Hold on one second. Get this done. And in the meantime, if there's any questions about the game, or it looks interesting, or you're curious about the different versions of the game or anything else, feel free, sound off in the comments, and we'll get the game started in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and just start cutting cards and try to mix these sets together here a little bit as we shuffle. Okay. Okay. Forgot to put the tray back in it. That's all right. Okay. Yeah, it's a good little shuffler. Recommended if you have a 3D printer and you're a little handy with like motors and whatnot. You could quickly and easily get one of these cranked out. There's a bill of materials that goes along with the files, and I don't even think you have to pay for it. I think this is available publicly, which is really cool. Okay. Almost. I'll go one more time through, and that should be enough to get this done. Sometimes I feed it too many cards and then it overflows. But that's my problem, not it. Just trying to rush too many cards through the shuffle at any given time. Okay, once more, and then we will get started. Well, once more through the deck. I have one more shuffle after this. All right, this is the last one. Hopefully it was enough shuffle to get it reasonably well mixed up. Okay. So just for safekeeping here, what I will do is I will cut it together in chunks to form the deck. so that hopefully any remaining non-randomization is minimized. But there's a lot of cards. This is probably 2 or 3 decks of cards. Okay. Yeah, I mean, here's what that full deck of cards looks like, all done. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I'll do one last triple cut there, and we'll get on to playing. All right, so we've got our shuffled cards. Get my shuffler out of the way. And then let's see what we got. So instructions say I just deal, let's see, place 5 roll cards, did all that, shuffle the cards. Yes, I outdid that. Okay, oh, right, trading. That's one of the actions. We'll talk about how trading goes. Okay, from the deck of building cards, remove the corner cards from the deck for each player. Oh, okay. Well, when the first time I come across one, I'll throw it away. I was supposed to prune out one of the cards. 1 corn cottage, 4 cards. All right, here's what I'll do then. I'll draw, and I'll see what happens. 4 cards draw from the top of the deck and keep in hand. Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm going to draw 4 cards, and then I'm going to hunt for a corn cottage, and we'll figure it out. I'll show you what these cards look like as we go. Okay, sugar mill. All right, polio. And then I'm supposed to get a corn cottage. Now, he's pretty well shuffled, I must say. What I'll do is I'll just, when I find the corn cottage, I will shuffle up these cards that I'm drawing right now and then put them bury them somewhere in the middle of the deck. And then it won't matter because I don't have a memory. There it is, corn cottage. Okay, that was what I should have done and I did not do before shuffling these cards. So if I find another corn cottage as we go, I'll probably discard it for the second player. It doesn't explicitly say to do that, but since the core rules say each player gets a corn cottage, I will at least remove 1 from play. Okay, so I've hand shuffled, and I'm just going to bury those cards somewhere in the middle of the deck here, and now we can get moving. Okay, so let's talk about my cards. So this is my hand of cards, and when I am playing, I'm going to leave them face up so you can see them a little clearer, and if I need to zoom in to show them in more detail, I can. But I wanted to give you as much of the player space as I could. So I'm going to leave my hand at the very bottom of the frame here. And then as I'm playing cards, let's say I build the corn cottage, I'm going to build it up here. So all the cards that I build throughout the game will be as far removed from my hand as possible to help make it clear what's in play versus what's in my hand. I just wanted to do that. I'll play it face up for the camera so you guys can follow along and make my decisions too. So let's talk anatomy of a card for just a minute. If we look on this card here, in fact, I'll specially zoom in just so we can look. Okay, so this is a corn cottage. This is the one I was hunting for. This costs $1 to build, and it's worth a victory point at the end of the game. Corn cottage, and then it tells you what it does during the craftsman phase. So if you were to take the craftsman action, it would produce a corn. And this is just the little symbol that helps you figure out how much corn is worth when you do a trade action later. But that just helps you to also remember at a glance what kind of buildings you have out in San Juan, right? So that's an example. Very simple. Corn cottage produces corn when you do the crafting action. And then if I scoot over here, this is Boio. This is one of the newer buildings. And it says after the trader phase, if no player has sold a good, draw 1 card. So that's cool. That means I can take the trader, and if I choose not to trade, I can sell a card instead. Right. So we come over here, sugar mill. Same thing as corn cottage, just produces sugar instead. But this one, crucially, costs $3 to make and is worth 2 victory points at the end of the game. And again, our target for a basic victory, town developer victory, is 35 victory points. And I'm only going to build probably between, I don't know, probably 12 and 14 buildings. So I have to be keeping that close in mind, how much each of my buildings are worth. And then not lastly, but I will come here. There we go. Fruit Depot, same exact thing as sugar mill, just produces fruit and is worth slightly less. And then this is not a production building. This is a church, and it says, if I build this church, it says at the beginning of a round, once per game, you may place any number of cards from your hand under this church card rather. At the end of the game, score 1 victory point for each card placed under the church. So I could take an entire hand of cards and devote them to the church 1 time per game. And that entire hand of cards, up to possibly even more than 7, because if I sell a bunch and I have a bunch of cards, I could make the church worth, what, 10 something victory points just on its own? But I'd have to take my entire hand at the very, very end and go and do that. So that might be a strategy for the church. But costs $3 to build, and it's 2 victory points on its own. So that gives you an idea. Now, how do we actually build things? Well, we take our hand and we decide what we want to do. Now, the instructions say that the player starts with the corn cottage. Is that what it is? Yes. Okay. The corn cottage is actually in play. And this is just a way to make money right at the beginning. So what we're going to do, I think, is produce first. Let's make some corn. We have corn. Let's make some corn. Based on my hand, I've got some production buildings. I have these 2 basic production buildings. These 2 are nice, but I might use them to do other things. All right, well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's produce first. In fact, I'm already making a mistake. It's not my decision to make. It's actually the hand's decision to make. We're going to roll his die, and he's choosing 5. So we're going to say he's choosing 5. So we're going to shove the adventurer a little higher in its slot, just to remind us that that's what he took. Now, he took the adventurer first. I don't get any action out of the adventurer, but he gets to draw a card. In this case, he's not going to do anything. But if I were the one to initiate the adventurer, I would draw a card. So he went there, and I don't get to do anything, which is unfortunate. I don't get to follow it all on my very first turn of the game. So what do I want to do, though? We talked about this. I'm going to do the craftsman action. So I'm going to shift this up. I get to produce a good, and I would actually get to produce 1 additional good. The only trouble with that is I only have 1 production building. So right now, I can't really. I can only produce 1 good, so I'm going to go ahead and produce 1 good. Here's how it works, though. On my 1 little corn cottage, I draw 1 card from the deck face down. I don't get to see what that card is because it doesn't matter. For the purposes of this, I've just produced 1 corn. This face down card is just the corn. It represents the corn. And when I sell that corn later, I discard it face down too. So what that means is every single time you produce anything, sell something, those cards are unseen. So those are cards that you won't get out of the deck. There's a lot of cards, but it also means every time you place down 1, the variation of what gets used as a face-up card in the game and what gets dealt as goods and discarded as goods is going to be completely different. So I really like that because it really changes up how each game feels every game, because it's never going to be the same thing twice. Okay, so in this case, I don't get to take advantage of the advantage here because I only have 1 building to produce, but that's okay. We'll get there. Now, what is he going to do? And I'm going to need to be moving my counter rather quickly because we're getting through the first round really quick. Okay, so he's chosen something that he has already chosen. And I think it tells me that it's the closest lowest number. Rolls of 4, the 4 is already taken. Let's start third roll is already taken, second roll, and so on. Okay, the selection is also circular from 1 to the 5-6 base. Yeah. Oh, interesting. The hand rolls a 1 and the first roll has already been selected. Okay, so it always shifts to the left. That's what I'm reading. And then it loops around. So if it shifts to the left and I rolled a 5, then it's going to go, 5, then it's going to go to the 4. But because I already took the 4, it's going to go to a 3. So it takes the recruit. The basic version is draw 2 cards, keep one of them, and discard the rest. And then the advantage is draw 3 additional cards to choose from. So you would draw 5 and keep 1 instead, which is super powerful. But I don't get to do that. He made the choice to use the recruiter. So instead, I get to draw 2 and keep 1. So since we're zoomed in anyway, this is what I drew. I drew coffee roaster, produces coffee, costs a lot, but I might want to keep that, produce some coffee. It looks like coffee might be worth a lot. Or lumber yard. So lumber yard says builder phase. After building a commercial building, immediately draw a card. That's cool. But I think I'm going to keep coffee roaster. Of the 2 cards I'm going to keep, I think I'm keeping coffee roaster. So that goes in my hand. Okay, so that was me following the recruiter action. So that's the end of round 1. Already, we're done with round 1. So what happens? Very, very simple. Every action here resets. And that's that. I'm pretty certain. Let me double check. I'm not missing any other actions on a round reset. Yep. Form a discard pile, discard cards, face down. Are always placed face down. Okay. Okay, no problem. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, yeah, that's it. So then all we're doing is resetting the rolls, and we just keep playing. So now it is round 2. Ooh, that's starting to look a little grainy, isn't it? Let me fix that for you. Hold on. That's better. Okay, apologies for that. Okay, so it is round 2, and now if we look at the round tracker, now I get to choose 2 actions to his 1. So now the tables are turned. It's no longer him doing so much selection. It's me. Well, we said we wanted to trade, but I'm going to have the opportunity to... Well, I don't have money, so I can't build another building until I sell corn. So I guess we have no choice but to sell. So we're going to do trading first. And this likewise says sell 1 good, but the advantage is sell 1 additional good. Since I only have 1 good to sell, that's good enough. Here's how trading works. There are a deck of cards over here called the trading house. And this dictates what the goods are worth right now in the market. So we just flip over the top card and we look. And of course, corn is only worth 1 right now. That's unfortunate. But what that means is, so I could be building buildings right now. I'm mostly demonstrating this for the sake of the stream. But what happens is there's no coins. You just draw more cards. So in this case, I would be drawing 1 card for this 1 corn. So I'm going to sell my 1 corn. That goes into the discard, and now I draw that many cards. So if I were to sell coffee, I would have dealt 3 cards to myself. I would have drawn 3 cards for just selling 1 coffee. But as it is, it's corn. I sold my corn, and that's that. I drew a card. So how then do we build something? Well, the build says, let me just quickly read. I want to get this right. Again, I haven't played this in a while. When building, player may build buildings. To build, take a card from your hand, place it face up on the table in front of you. Okay, pay the building cost by discarding the number of cards from your hand. Okay, so here's why drawing cards is really good, right? If I come down here and I look at all of my cards again, it's not about the $ on the card, the coin value. That's what it takes to build it. But let's say I wanted to build this coffee roaster, right? We talked about that. I would have to discard 5 cards, 1 per coin, to build coffee roaster. So all 5 of those would have to go away just to build the coffee roaster. So you want to be drawing as many cards as you can, which is why selling stuff is so important. So you're not having to get rid of really good cards in order to do that. So what would we do instead? Well, we saw on the trading card that the most valuable stuff is tobacco and coffee, right? They're always at the bottom of the list. I'm sure these values are going to change as we see more of these trading cards, but I want to maybe focus on coffee and tobacco because they cost the most to produce. So I want to keep those cards if I can, but I also want to get a cheap product out that lets me get some more money quick. So let's focus on building something cheap first, and then we can focus on better stuff later. So I think what I might do is make a sugar mill and then get rid of those 3 cards to pay for it. So I'm going to discard 3 cards, which is its cost, and I'm going to, oh wait, I traded. So I don't get to do that yet. He gets to do that. So I sold my goods and I am jumping the gun. I need to figure out what he's going to do first. He might choose building anyway. Nope, he's going to choose craftsman, which is to produce a good. All right, not one my first choice because I would have liked to produce goods after I build my building. But as it is, I get to produce corn again. So that's fine. I will follow along and I will produce corn. Now I'm going to choose builder. So I'm going to choose builder, and now we're going to do what I talked about doing. I'm going to build this sugar mill, and I'm going to discard these 3 cards to pay for it. Now sugar mill comes up here. Okay, that's the end of the 2nd round already. We're getting into the 3rd round, and all we do is reset, and we go again. So I kind of just wasted the 1st round in demo, but that's all right. He's going to go 5. He's going to do adventurer, which is kind of good for me. I mean, I would like to follow him, but he didn't waste any of the really good actions. So what's my one thing that I want to do? I feel like I should sell that corn so that I'm prepared to produce twice when we do producing. So I'm going to produce. I'm going to do trading action, and we're going to do the trading house again. And predictably, corn is only worth 1. So we'll just draw 1. We'll actually take that corn off and draw 1 card. Okay. All right. So we are left with 3 cards. One of them is a gold mine. That's pretty cool. Gold mine says adventurer phase. Ooh, an adventurer phase building. Draw 4 cards. If they all have a different cost, you may reveal them to keep the cheapest one. Discard the rest. Huh. That's kind of like hunting for gold, though. You better pray that you draw 4 cards of different values. It's cheap building to build, but is it really going to pay dividends? Am I going to waste a build action to build it? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I might just use it for fodder. Okay, so that was my action to sell my corn. What is he going to do for his 3rd action? He's going to go 5 again, but no, he's not. He's going to do crafting, which is good. Now I could produce 1 good of my choosing. Well, sugar's probably going to be worth more than corn, so we'll produce a sugar. We would normally have been able to produce twice, but he took the action instead of us. So that's that. That's the end of round 3. Into round 4. Now it's my turn to choose. I think I want to produce again. Do I? I don't really have cards I want to use as money right now. I could use Recruiter to draw cards, but I'd only get to be able to draw 1 card from Recruiter. Be better to produce twice. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to produce twice. I'm going to go with Craftsman, and I'm going to produce this corn. So at least I can sell 2 different kinds of goods, ideally, as long as he doesn't do Trader this turn. So let's see what he does. 5, great. No action. So I will. I'm going to do Trader. And I'm going to sell both goods because the advantage on Trader is I get to sell 1 additional good. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to sell sugar. And if you're ever curious what the symbols mean, they're at the bottom of the buildings. So my buildings are sugar, which is this gray symbol here, and corn. So I'm going to be able to draw 3 cards now because I sold 2 goods. Great. So that's going to come back underneath here. And when these are finally dealt out, we will shuffle them up and go again. So I get to draw 3 cards for selling 2 goods. And there's that corn cottage. I'm going to go ahead and discard it because there was another one. Because I was supposed to pull 2 out for a 2-player game. Okay. So what did I get? Oh, wait. I'm supposed to get 3 cards. There we go. We got another gold mine. We got another gold mine. We got a trading post. Sell 1 additional good. Ooh, I want to get that out for sure. So every time we sell, if we have 3 buildings producing stuff and we're the one with advantage, then we'll sell 3 goods instead of 2. And if we don't have advantage, we'll always be able to sell at least 2. So trading post would be super good. So that's going to be a goal. We want to put that over here on our list of things to keep. So what we have going on here is tobacco, coffee roaster, trading post. We want to build all 3 of those. We have 3 cards to use as money. So we're doing okay in that regard. All right. So it is round 4, or sorry, round 5 even. Wow. And now he's going to go. He gets to go first. So what's he going to do? He's going to go adventurer again. Oh, I'm kind of liking this die. I have to keep it. Okay, so he's going to go adventurer, which is nothing. I would like to be able to follow him once in a while, though, and adventurer is kind of killing me. So then what am I going to do? I think I'm going to build and hope that he produces. Yeah, I'm going to build the trading post. And I'm going to pay 1 less because I'm the one to build it. And that was the advantage I forgot to mention before. Probably should have. So I get to pay 1 less for this trading post. So that means instead of paying 2 cards, I only have to pay 1. So I'll get rid of one of my gold mines instead. So that's going to what I use to pay for the trading post. Trading post goes out here. Now, whenever I trade, I will be able to sell an additional good. All right, now what is he going to do? 1, he's going to trade, which is unfortunate because I don't have anything to trade right now. I haven't produced anything. And that's that. That's the end of round 5. I can see the game goes super quick. Okay, now we're into round 6 and it's my turn. But the action's all reset, so it's okay. I built last round. I think it's time to craft. Yeah. So I'm going to craft, and because I'm the one to initiate craft, I get to produce twice. So I'm going to produce 1 corn and 1 sugar. And then he is going to build. Ooh, is there something I can build? I have to pay full price for it. Not really. Park authority. When you build over the park authority using the cranes effect, reduce the cost by 6 cards instead. No. I could build the gold mine just to have something to do on the adventurer action. It would get rid of a card, though, and I might want to use that card in a minute for either tobacco or coffee. So I think I'm going to choose not to do that. Now, in the solo game, if you choose not to take an action, it's called the forfeit rule. And the forfeit rule says, where are you? Forfeit rule, it even tells you the page number here, which is cool. By the way, the rule book is pretty well laid out, actually. Okay, forfeit rule. The hand adds 1 change to gameplay. The forfeit rule. Whenever the hand selects a roll, the player may forfeit his basic action to instead draw a card. Rationale. This rule gives the player a minor boost, mainly in the early game, giving a smoother start to engine building. The forfeit rule also works as a counterbalance to the hand's roll selection. The adventurer always has the 5-6 roll spot, meaning the hand will select it more often. So this gives us a little bit of something we can do. It gives us a little extra draw when we have nothing else going on. So because he's choosing to build, I'm choosing not to build. I'm going to go ahead and take the forfeit action to draw a card. Okay. That's a solo mode deviation for the rules. Okay, so what am I going to do? Well, because he built, I want to trade so that I can build something really big next turn. Yeah, so I am going to sell both of my goods because I'm the one that initiated. They are worth 1 and 1 right now. Oof, that's brutal. Okay, well, it is what it is. I get to draw 2 cards. That's fine. That's the minimum I needed anyway. So these are gone. Okay. Okay, so now we're into round 7 and he gets to go. Going for the adventurer. Now, normally that would be me out of luck, but because, I didn't build the gold mine. I didn't build the gold mine, so never mind. I don't get an action. Bummer. And by the way, I can't forfeit the adventurer. I didn't have an action to take, so I couldn't forfeit it. Okay, so he went there. What does that leave me with doing? I want to build, man. I want to get probably the coffee roaster out. I have 5 cards, and I am full up on cards. My hand is full. So I want to get this coffee roaster out. So I'm going to build. I'm going to build for 1 less, which is great because I just got some cards. I got, scoot down here, a hospital. After building, if you have less than 2 cards, draw 1 card. That's handy. Only worth 1 victory point, though. Goldsmith, adventurer phase. Reveal the top card of the deck. If no player has built the revealed building, draw it. That's pretty cool because I'm the only player. That might need to get nerfed in this version of the game just to see if there's any rule. There are some rules changes in the back about like which buildings do something different. Let's see. New Dawn, modified cards. Guard room, hut, tavern. Okay, this probably just needs a modified rule. I don't know how that would work though. The goldsmith just seems like I'm going to be able to build more frequently. It's worth 3 victory points at the end of the game though. So I think, oh, here's the office. Oh, I want to keep the office. The office is cheap. At the beginning of a round, discard up to 2 cards and draw that many cards. I can cycle cards to get better cards in my hand with the office, and it's cheap. And since I'm not limited to 12 buildings, I might just crank that out. I would normally be worried about filling up my board with really cheap cards. I'm not in the solo mode as much. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing. I'll let you know. Okay, well, I want to buy build a coffee roaster, and I'm doing it for 1 less. So I'm going to keep the office because that's super flexible. And I'm going to spend these 4 cards. Okay. And we're going to get the coffee roaster out. Real happy with that life choice. Okay, that leaves me with 2 cards. What's he going to do? He's going to 5 again. He's not. He's going to go to 4, which says craftsman produce 1 good. Well, because he's the one to do it, I'm going to only produce coffee because coffee's worth the most of everything I have. I don't get to produce twice. That's the end of the round. Going into round 8. We're halfway done already. And I only have 4 buildings built. But I think this is going to wrap up rather nicely. Okay, so I get to go first. I'm going to do craftsman again. This time I get to produce 2 goods. So I'm going to produce 1 sugar and 1 corn. Now I'm full up, and we're going to make some bank when we trade. Speaking of, what's he going to do on his turn? 2. He's going to build. I don't have any money to build. I want to keep both of those cards. So he's doing that a little prematurely, but that's all right. I'll get it back before long. So I'm going to go ahead and trade. I wish I had something that lets me. Oh, I do. I do have the trade. I have the trading post. So because I'm the one to initiate trade, I get to sell 2 goods instead of 1. And because I have the trading post, I get to sell an additional good, which lets me sell all 3 of those goods. So that's a coffee, a corn, and a sugar. And coffee this round is worth 3. Sugar is worth 2, and corn is worth 1. So I get to draw 6 cards. That's really cool. Now, here's the problem. I'm going to draw 6 cards, and then my turn's going to be over. And I'm going to have to discard something because I'll be at my hand limit. So there's my existing 2 cards. We're going to draw 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's a lot of cards. Now let's find out when we get to our hand limit. New round, new turn. Turn, gameplay. Yeah. Okay. I know that there's a hand limit. I saw it in here, and it is 7. New round. During a round, player may hold more than 7 cards in their hand. The 7 card limit applies at the beginning of a new round. Players must always show how many cards. Okay. It doesn't explicitly say that you have to discard down, but that's the only way to resolve too many cards, right? So we know we're going to keep those 2. Craftsman. If you've produced at least 2 goods, draw a card. Ooh. Trader. If you've sold at least 1 good, draw a card. Also good. Trader. If you sold at least 1 good, draw a card. So this is the same card. That's immediately a card that I might get rid of. School. After a building phase, if you have at least the least number of buildings and at least 1 player has more, draw 1 card. This is another one where I'd have to rely on some rules adjustments for these to work, because that was not on the list of these. So I might have to check in with the designer to see if he's going to have some thoughts about how to play these. I would say something like, 5, 6, 7, or maybe it is that it scales with the round that it currently is. Or you give a little chart for school to tell you like what your target is, depending on what round it is. That might be the way to handle that. It's round, what is this now? We just finished round 8. So now we're going into round 9. And it means he's going to be able to go first. So if I were to play this now, since it's in the back half of the game, I'd say that number is going to be pretty decently high. Fortress. At the beginning of a round, all players without a fortress or a lighthouse discard cards in hand down to 6. That's nasty. Trading post is another trading post. I could build 2 trading posts so I could sell 4 goods or 3 goods no matter whether I'm the one to initiate or not. I want one that lets me produce an additional good. That's what I want. Factory only lets me draw a card, but I want to produce 1 more. Kind of like the trading post, but I guess that's kind of what factory does, right? Because if I would just immediately draw a good, it wouldn't just go on a building. So maybe I just build the factory. Okay, well, in that case, I'll go ahead and get rid of large market because it's my only duplicate card. Now I'm down to 7. Okay, he gets to go first. Sorry for the delay there. I just had to rationale my way out of that. Okay, wait, first of all, these get reset. He's doing adventurer, and I did not build anything for the adventurer, unfortunately. So nothing to me. What do I want to do first? I have cards I should build. But I kind of, yeah, I'll build this factory for 1 less, so it only cost me 1. And I think I'll go ahead and get rid of the fortress, because that makes no sense in this game anyway, to build that. So I will put that over here. Ooh, back to being grainy again. Apologies. Not sure why, but I will correct that. Okay, that should be better. So he did that, I did that, and then he's going to do what? Roll a die. 6. No, he's not. He's going to go to produce, which is good for me. I get to produce 1 good. I will, of course, produce coffee. And that's the end of the round, round 10. Let's do a quick accounting to see where I stand. I need to somehow make at least 30 victory points. And at the moment, I'm at round 10. I've only got 6 rounds left, and I've got 8 points. So what do I want to do about this? If you sold at least 1 good, draw a card. I should have built the office before now. But let's get this 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's do build, and I'll pay 1 less to build tobacco. So now I got tobacco coming as well. So now I have 4 buildings out that I can produce on. Okay, and that cost me 3 instead of 4. Okay. Then he is going to go 5 adventurer, and then I am going to produce. Yeah, going to go craftsman, produce 2 goods. And because I have produced 2 goods, I get to draw a card. So first I will produce 2 goods. I'm going to produce tobacco and sugar. And then draw a card. Corn cottage. Okay, end of the round. Into round 11. He goes. Adventure again. My goodness. Should have built that adventurer card. So I guess I will go ahead and sell. Why not? I get to sell all 3 of those cards. So I am out of trading cards. So now I get to shuffle up these market cards. Okay. Of course. I get to draw 5 cards. Well, that's good because I already have 2. So that's fine. 5 cards for these 3 resources. Off they go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Chapel says, let's pop in a little bit so you can see those. Yeah. Chapel says, at the beginning of a round, place 1 card from your hand under the chapel. At the end of the game, score 1 victory point for each card placed under the chapel. Well, we're at the late stage already. I'm already in like round 11 of 16. So like, distillery, play 1 card less for production buildings. We do have a production building victory of 9 production buildings, of which I'm already at 4. I have 1 in my hand, 2 in my hand, in fact. So maybe I go for the production building victory. Can I get that many built? Well, it's his turn. Let's find out what he does first. He's going to go 4 to produce. Huh. Okay. Well, I only get to produce 1 thing, but I'll go ahead and produce coffee. Guarantee some value there. That's the end of the round. Now back to me at 12. So no, I'm not going to be able to build more than 5 buildings. I'm going to build once. If I build once each and every round, then I would barely eke out a 9 building production thing. Diversified, though, is just 12 buildings, and I've already got 6 buildings out. I couldn't get another building out if I wanted to right now. I'm not going to make 12. So either I got to get to 35 victory points, or I got to specialize on production or infrastructure. Let's see. It is my turn. I think we build, and we build the distillery. And we're going to do it for free because it's worth 1 and I get to pay 1 card less, so I don't pay a thing for the distillery. Okay. Now what's he going to do? 2. Can't do 2. Going trading. Great, I have a coffee. What's it worth? 3. I would have liked to have been able to save that for when I had more goods to sell, but it's worth 3 right now, so that's great. Because we're coming back into my turn. So coffee is out. I get to draw 3 cards. Ooh, Canal. Canal just came out. I would love to be able to build it. Because Canal says during the craftsman phase, produce 1 additional good. That's the card I was looking for. Unfortunately, I'm also 2 cards overweight here. I got to be careful. I can't build because I already built, and he traded. So I'm definitely going to lose 2 cards. Well, we're going to keep these 2. So before we decide what we're going to do, we're going to keep those 2 because we want to produce production buildings if we can. If you sold at least 2 goods, draw a card. Small factory. Small market, rather. Huh. Let's build the office next. So we want to keep that. We might keep the small market. Don't care about the chapel. The canal's good. We want to build that. We might build the monument for extra victory points. So I think you may discard the required number of cards from your hand and or cards you've just drawn. Oh, for the recruiter? Nah, we'll get rid of those 2. Okay, so we're going to discard those 2 down. We know we're going to lose them. So now we have a decision as to what we're going to keep in our hands. So those are the 7 we know we're going to keep. That means we might want to produce. Yeah. Let's produce. Because we can't build, and we have plenty of cards. So we'll produce 2, tobacco and coffee. And that's the end of round 12. Home stretch now. He's going to build. That's actually fine for me. I have to build at full price, but I can build. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got 4. Now the thing is, I want to prioritize building production buildings because I can pay for them for cheap. So, and that's the victory point I'm going for. So let's try to produce this coffee. It's 4, and it's going to be 3 now because I have the distillery, but it's supposed to be pay even less. So maybe we keep the canal, and then we want to keep that. Chapel, no. Okay, chapel. Office, we never got that built. We want to keep the corn because it's cheap. And I think we will, wow, victory's going to go. Okay, so that's that. That pays for the coffee roaster. We have a second coffee roaster out now. That's great. Okay. So that's builder. Now it's my turn. I'll go ahead and trade. So I can trade 2. So I'll trade for my tobacco and my coffee, which, hey, look at that, are both worth 3. So I'm going to draw 6 cards. And I get to draw an additional card because I traded, if I produced, oh no, I don't get to draw an additional card. Sell 1 additional, good. So I could have sold 3, but as it is, I made 6 and I don't have room for more anyway. So I'm going to draw 6 cards. Good, we got another production building. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And another production building and another production building. So we want to keep those if we can, because those are going to be the last 3 we build. So we're going to build the sugar mill for sure because it's worth more. We might just say no to the fruit because it costs more money to build. We want the victory points, and that only gives us 1. So we are at 5 buildings. We're going to get this done? I don't know. We might not. We might be 1 short. Unless we can figure out how to build another card. Well, that's all right. We'll see what happens. I could be wrong. I might get lucky and find a way. Let's see. Double the advantage of the chosen role. The publishing house. That might be how we do it. Because I can build twice if I can get the money for it. All phases. Ooh. That's pretty good. Okay, what's he going to do? 4. He's going to produce. That means I get to produce 1. I don't have anything that helps me produce more than 1. Okay, so I'm going to produce coffee, because why not? All right, so I produced a coffee. Great. Thanks, dude. That's the end of the round. We're into round 14. Now it's my turn. We need to build this publishing house. But if I build the publishing house now, then it doesn't take effect this turn, I don't think. What does it say? Does it say this turn? All right, there is a little handy glossary in the back that gives you a description of everything. Here we go. The owner of a publishing house may double the advantage of any role selected. The doubled advantage for the 5 roles are... Oh. No, I can't build more than twice with a builder. It says pay 2 cards less. So it's doubling the advantage, not doubling the function. That's a bummer. It's cool because, I mean, the advantages are really powerful, but I think I should just stick to my plan. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get a 3rd one built. I don't know how else I would do that. Unless I get a card magically that says build again, which I don't think exists. But let's get as close to a victory as we can, just for the sake of it. Let's go ahead and build. Oh, I need to draw down anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I need to draw. We're going to get rid of the monument, and that's a fruit. We're going to get rid of the fruit. All right, there's our 7. All right, those are gone. That's a bummer, but it is what it is. We're going to go ahead and build the sugar mill because we're the one building, so we're going to pay less, and we're also going to pay another less. So this is only going to cost me 1 card because it's a production building. After scoring all other building, score 1 victory point for each 4 victory points you have as a customs house. That might be worth trying to build. 1 victory point for each 4 that I have? That's not going to produce very many victory points. I'm going to get rid of the publishing house. We'll just do publishing house. We know we're not going to build that, so that's our sugar mill. Okay. So now I have 2 sugar mills. Okay. What's he going to do? 3. He's going to go recruiter. First time in a while. Draw 2 cards and keep 1. Okay, draw 2. Publishing house again, or hidden market. Discard up to 2 goods to pay that many cards less. What? Oh. But isn't that just a net loss? That's weird. Oh, 2 goods. So those are goods that I have out on cards. Oh, I see. Okay. I don't really want either of them. But I guess I'll keep that. It's fine. Can use it for other stuff. Okay. So he did a recruit. And that leaves me with production or trading. I do have something I could trade. It would be a free trade right now. Or I could produce so I could get a better trade next turn. So I think I will. I'll produce. That means I get to produce twice. I already have 1 coffee, so I'll get a 2nd coffee and I'll get a tobacco. And because I produced twice, I get to draw a card. Another sugar mill. Great, but I don't think I'm going to get it out. We'll see. Okay, that's the end of the round. Now he goes. 3. I'm going to go recruit again. Draw 2 cards, keep 1. Fruit or small market. I already have a small market. Don't need that. I wish I could actually get these built. That would be lovely. I'm going to build. I know that. I have the cards to do it. So we'll build the sugar mill. It's going to be 1 cheaper, so that's 2. And it's a production building, so I'm going to do 1 cheaper still. That's just 1. So we'll do a hidden market. and we'll sell that. And then sugar mill comes out. So now we're at 3 sugar mills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. I think we're going to be 1 short. I don't think we're going to have enough victory points anyway, even if I do get it all built. So I think I'm going to lose, but not bad. I mean, this is going to be a close game for my very first solo game. So I feel pretty good about that. Okay, so that was his turn. Oh, it was my turn. He gets to go. Okay. 6, adventure, nothing for me, unfortunately. Okay. Now it is the last round. And I'm down to my hand limit, so that's good. I have the money I should just build to get it done with. I don't think goods are worth anything at the end of the game. They might be worth points. It won't matter. So I don't think I'm going to get to 35 points. Some of the big point cards that came out really just didn't come out at all. End of the game. There's also some stuff that lets me like increase your hand limit, which lets you build some big cards. But that increased my hand limit card didn't come out at all. Sorry, I'm just looking for the end of... Okay, some of the victory points on all the cards. Victory point for each card under the chapel. Customs house. Oh, okay. Nope. No, so goods don't mean anything. Okay, so goods on cards don't actually render any points. Fine. I want to build just to build because I want to get to that 8th building, and I want to do it for as cheap as I can. This is a production building. I get to do 1 less, so it's 1, and then my distillery lets me reduce that further by 1, so that's a free fruit depot. Cool. I'll just put it over here. It's fine. Okay. Now he is going to go to adventurer again. Of course he is. And just for fun, since I have 3 goods, I'll go ahead and sell for my last action of the game. I'll get to 3, sell all 3, and it'll be worth a whopping 2, 2, 6. Yeah, 6 cards. Won't matter because it's the end of the game. But I wanted to at least sell all the stuff off, get a nice big action at the very end there. So there it is. That is San Juan, a narrow loss. I think. Let's see the victory point total. So to see victory point total, we are going to push in a little bit. Let me go here. That's probably better. And I will zoom that out just so we can see. Yeah, okay. So 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 16, 17, 18, 19. So I didn't come anywhere close to having 30 points. So even if I had gotten the 9 required production buildings, I would have lost on points alone. There are cards in this deck that lets you increase the, like Crane lets you build over other buildings, which only really matters in the like strict 12 building rule, which is not the case in this multiplayer, or sorry, in the solo version. I'm looking for... Publishing House is really cool at the early game if you can get it built, because it lets you double the advantage the entire rest of the game for any action you take. No. Some things let you draw more cards. Victory Arc. I'm just looking, just sorting through it, you know. It's a really great game. This got close. I got really close. I just wish I could have gotten some more high power stuff out. But and some of this is just me not having touched this game in 7, 8 years. It's been a little while. But there's certainly a way to get Score 1 victory point for each production building you have, and 1 victory point for each production type you have. So assembly hall, that would have been a card for me to go after if that showed up, because that would have been 8 or 9 more victory points, plus the types would have been 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would have been 12 victory points for assembly hall. So that would have given me over 30. And if I had gotten 1 more building built, then that would have been that. So 16 rounds, it is possible. If you can build 9 buildings and get over 30 victory points in campaign 1, or 12 total buildings, which actually probably would have been what I'd go for in that situation, because I would have gotten, we didn't build crane and we didn't build assembly hall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I was 1 building short total, but I would have built different buildings to try to even this out. I wouldn't have continued to build production buildings. I would have gone for 6 and 6 for the diversified victory. And then hopefully one of them would have been assembly hall, and that would have gotten me to 30. That would have been the path. So it's definitely possible, but it is, it does come down to sometimes what cards come out. But one of the nice things is there are so many cards that let you draw more cards. And there is even a building I didn't build that lets me draw 2 new cards and discard, kind of swap out 2 cards every single round. So if that comes out early, that one that lets you double your advantage, if that comes out early, those things can really loosen the constraints of the game and get that thing built for you and get it humming along, where you can just churn through cards and find exactly the cards you're looking for. So that's San Juan. I love it. It's got legs for days still. It is a classic for a reason. It is a version that's gotten 2, 3 reprints already. And this is, I think, for my money, the best version of this yet. Go check out The Hand. The Hand is a great solo campaign. I really enjoyed playing it. I'm going to enjoy continuing to play it. And I'm looking forward to delving its depths of the different ways to win this game, because clearly there's a lot of different ways to skin this cat. So looking forward to trying it all out. And that is it. We're going to end it here. I was thinking about playing another one, but we're going to end it here because go Seahawks. Have yourself a wonderful Super Bowl. And if you're a Patriots fan, I'm not sorry. Talk to you guys later. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see you again at the table next week for something completely different. Take care.